Well, it's Wednesday, and we are back with relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons. And it says back to dungeon tiles. That is not true, okay? Because on Monday, I finished these dungeon tiles. Got all these floors washed. Painted the flames for the traps. Got that done. Even completed the 2 thrones. The one that needed to be washed after it was base coated, and the one that was washed before the details were put on. And as you can see, you can hardly tell the difference, right? So it was just a matter of, how the detail went. I'm just looking at this one. This is where I had to do some touch up on it, and it turned out okay. Yeah, no, this is the one. That's where I did the touch up here. But yeah, so either base coating and then washing and then doing the detail, or doing the detail and then washing seems to work either direction, which was kind of a pleasant surprise. Got a sarcophagus done, painted that, and yeah. Anyway, the dungeon tiles are done, and now it's back to the Fink Eliminator, which I started on a stream, I don't know, it was like 3 weeks ago or something, and then all these dungeon tiles showed up that needed to be done. But this is one of the Big Daddy Roth repros. These came out, I don't know, about 10, 15 years ago. The originals came out when I was in elementary school, I think. Yeah, it would have been like 58 years ago or something like that. Like, I think the original models, if you can find an original issue, especially if it's still in the shrink wrap, could be worth like hundreds of bucks, which is kind of cool. Anyway, yeah, so I built these when I was young. I just counted them before. It looks like there's 11 of these. There's the original Rat Fink. This is the Fink Eliminator. Surfing's on a surfboard on a wave. That's pretty cool. There is a Rat Fink on a high-rise motorbike. I couldn't get the original remake. I actually ended up getting a Spanish language remake of that one. Not that the instructions matter much, because they only go together one way. Anyway, these were really kind of fun to build when I was a kid, and then they came out with the repros, and I thought, well, let's just relive my youth and we'll start building them. I think it was easier when I was younger for some reason. Anyway, I got started on this, got it kind of glued together, filled in the gaps, because there's always some glue gaps. And one of the arms, of course, fell off because it's not really that well made, but, I can put it back on. And what this guy does is he's got this hammer that says "I like" on it, and there's this whole decal set, so you get to pick what kind of brand of car you like, okay, all the way from, looks like a Mercedes, maybe even a Bentley or something, Peugeot, and it beats up on this poor little guy, this car that's all smushed in, the hammer, matches it like that. And then you're supposed to put the decal of the car that you don't like, maybe like the Rolls Royce or something. So maybe you like Pontiacs because they don't make them anymore. Maybe you like those, and you don't like Rolls Royces because they represent, accumulated wealth beyond anything you can imagine, kind of thing. So anyway, you can do that with the decals. That's kind of a fun thing to do. And then he's got the hammer, and the hand that fell off carries a cherry bomb. And I painted this last time And it came out okay. You can see the bomb part anyway. And what I need to do on this is I'm going to make the fuse not gray. I'm going to turn that to like a beige kind of color. And then this little flame on the top. When I get around to it again, will be some sort of like a little red and yellow paint detail on that. So other than the disaster with the arm, the mouth insert, which I put together when I first started building this like 8 years ago, and then it sat on the shelf the whole time. This mouth insert gets glued in before the pieces are glued together. Yeah, Pontiac, right? Do you want to? Yes, this is a back in my day episode. I had one day, and I guess I have to keep celebrating it. So anyway, the mouth part goes inset and then extends to the outside. And what happened was that it got painted a color I don't have anymore, right? And not only that, but there was these ridges on either side. You can see where the white is now. There were these ridges on either side that I have filled in with plastic putty. And what I'm going to try to do is use these abrasives. I have a huge collection of different grits, all the way to, like, this is 600, extremely fine, for making things glassy smooth, to 220 grit, 180 grit that I might use for some initial shaping. Anyway, I need to smooth these out so that little 32nd of an inch gap, that wasn't really a gap, it was just an unevenness, is evened out. And then I need to paint the whole inside of the mouth this color, because this is the color that comes closest to the color that I originally painted it. At least that's what it looks like. I can look at my color chart, see if there's something better. Scarlet red, but there are other reds, but like the blood red, a flat red up here. But the scarlet red is the one that comes closest. Anyway, I'm going to just sort of get some of this sandpaper out, get little bits of it, because I have to work it in here, and I'm going to start trying to smooth that out, and hopefully I'll be able to pull that off. We will find out. This could take the better part of forever, attempting to do this. I'm putting the sandpaper on the end of a popsicle stick here so that I can get it in there. I don't know how hard this plastic stuff is once it sets. I haven't used it before. I've used Auto Body Buddy, that's what's here in these gaps, but I haven't used this. At least not in a way that required sanding later. Yeah, I should do a flip. Let me flip. No, well, he has this tongue thing that's supposed to go into his mouth. I'm not sure I'll put it in. It looks kind of stupid, but I can flip that. After he's done, assuming I can fix this, this is supposed to go in somewhere. I think you can just glue it in anywhere. There's no particular place for it. It's got kind of this bifurcated tongue thing hanging out that I may or may not use. I don't know. Maybe I'll modify it. I might modify it and take these little prong things off the end and just leave it like sticking out. We'll see. So right now I'm trying to see if I how this stuff sands using little bits of sandpaper, because there's really not much to work with here. Yeah, this could, you know, this might have been a really bad idea. I'm not sure. Doesn't need much sanding. Yeah, it does. Can't really see the contours, and it's too far in to feel. So far I'm having, I would say, like 0 success with this. What I want is for these edges to be really smooth and contiguous. I don't want to have replaced like one ridge with simply another one. I'm going to keep rubbing at it here with this little bit of sandpaper and make it a nice smooth surface with a nice even seam. Feel it with my fingernails, so it's not what I want yet. Anyway, you get to watch me do this for a while, because yeah, sometimes when you try to fix something, you know, you do like a custom kind of fix to something that wasn't quite right on the model kit when you bought it. It doesn't always make it better. Anyway, I'll do this for a little while, and then if it really isn't going well, or if it does go well and I finish, what I'm going to be working on next is the shirt. This shirt goes around underneath his beard here. No, actually I should do his beard first. The beard comes around under here. I want to do it this yellow color with a brown wash. It doesn't have to match his hair exactly, but I want it to be similar in color. So I'll be using a yellow with a brown wash, and we'll see if that comes out close. Yeah, so I don't know how this is doing on the edges, you know, where the white stuff meets the red stuff. I want that to not have another ridge on it. I want it to be kind of flawless. Keep worrying at it. Can't really hurt anything by doing this. But you can see here is that this was higher than underneath, and I tried to bevel it. This right there is where the top edge is, and I tried to bevel it down to match the lower part. something down there that almost like a little bubble kind of thing that I need to get done. Put it in there. So I think this guy likes Pontiac because General Motors decided that I don't know, when all the car companies were reducing the number of brands that they had, they were selling cars mainly to older folks, kind of like me, you know, and people were buying Oldsmobiles, and the younger folks weren't buying cars as much, so Pontiacs weren't selling quite as much. But you know, they made that decision just as the demographics all started changing, and then they had to start a whole ad campaign saying that an Oldsmobile wasn't an Oldsmobile. It's like, well, if it's not an Oldsmobile, what is it? And why did you stop making the thing that this new not Oldsmobile is instead? Just, you know, it's like, you know, you make these business decisions based on old information, basically, how things had been going, and not based on how they will be going. So instead of having, you know, kind of cool-looking, inexpensive, somewhat sporty cars that the younger demographic might be interested in having, they had to have, this is not an Oldsmobile. This is not your father's Oldsmobile. Well, then what is it? Same thing happened with Buick. That's a Buick? That's not a Buick. Well, if you have to sell something by claiming it's not what it is, maybe you didn't make the right choice. Just saying. This is going okay. I can't really feel it, you know, so I can't get in there to see how smooth it is. I can tell though that that it's beveled, and that you don't see, what you don't see is this raised area anymore. Whether there's still a little gap in there or not, I can't tell. It feels smooth from the parts that I can touch. Down at the bottom here, it needs some work. It's not too bad. I mean, you can kind of see that, but having a little rough spot down at the bottom of the mouth probably isn't the worst thing in the world. And that's a tooth there. I play around with this for a while, and I have to go on the other side. The other side, I don't know, hard to tell. It looks like it might actually be easier. Can't really see though. So I think that when I'm done with this, I might do the beard, because it'd be easier to paint the shirt up to the beard than the beard down to the shirt. Anyway, this is getting to be a whole lot more effort than it was when I was like 12 years old. So yeah, so there's all these finks. You know, the Rat Fink on the bike is pretty cool. I saw one built model. They really, really went out of their way to put the detail in it. There's this. They even did like the wiring on an ignition and things. It was pretty impressive. My attention to detail is filling in the cracks. Okay, well, let's mess around on this other side and see how this goes. This is clearly rougher to begin with than the other one. This is going to need some work, especially right in here. So there's like a lump there. Now we'll, you know, do the same sort of thing as just keep rubbing it with the sandpaper until it seems to be okay. And then I'll clean it off. Probably get a little paper towel with a little bit of water on it because I want to get the dust down. That'll keep it from working well if I don't get the dust out. Yeah, this is pretty boring, isn't it? Watching me just sort of rub this with a little bit of sandpaper. And I'm afraid this will continue to be this way for a little while until it's ready to paint again. Then I'll wash off the inside of the mouth with a little bit of water just to get the dust out, and then repaint the inside of the mouth. And then I'm going to do the beard. I need to find the right shade of yellow. It worked out really well. The wash filled in all the, you know, ridges in the hair, so it looks like hair. And the beard is sort of the same, and I'm hoping to get the same look. We'll see if I can succeed in doing that. Might try out. Might actually try the smoky ink wash because it's got a little bit of like red in it. And when this was painted and the inside of the mouth was painted, we were building Warhammer figures ages ago when those first sort of came out, and had a whole bunch of Citadel colors. Those have by now, those all dried up years ago. Using Tamiya and Vallejo. Those are the two kinds of paints that we're using. Most of what we're doing. I think we've got like one or two. There's one copper that's something else. A nice metallic copper color. Those are acrylics. Those are nice. They just, you know, they're water soluble. Cleanup is easy. And not to show brush marks, especially the flat paints. So you can do a lot of brush work rather than necessarily using a airbrush. It's pretty smooth, really. I think this is coming on okay. I think it'll look all right. It might be a little bit, there might be a little like little lumpies or something, but this is an inside of the mouth. So having little bits of contours and stuff isn't isn't bad. Having a raised edge, I mean, it just didn't work at all. It's like a clip inside the mouth. So this might be just a little unevenness, but that's probably okay. Trying not to break the other arm off. Yeah, the arms were attached. You can hear it, right? There's this little grommet that glued into the arm here, and yeah, there it was for a moment, and then the arm went on and the two halves got glued together over it, but the cement failed and the arm fell off, so it'll still hold well enough so that I don't have to do the whole thing over. But anyway, I'm gonna here. Oh yeah, I painted the eliminator on the back. I thought that came out pretty well. And why are there spots? There's white spots. So like it's got. I'm gonna have to touch that up there and there. It's like the paint rubbed off a little bit while it was in the box. And I did the black outlining. There's this little like indentation around the outside of the letters. So I did the black outlining, and then when I paint the purple shirt, it'll come back up to it, and the letters will have black outlines, so they'll show pretty well. And I really kind of like the way it's ragged around the edges. I wonder if I can, when I paint the purple shirt, I'm actually really kind of tempted to paint up to the black and leave it ragged looking, as opposed to doing it right on up to the incision. Kind of like that look. But there's little spots where the paint came off. To touch those up. Black and blue. If I can remember what color blue I used. Blue-green. Blue-green. Maybe I'll make a little swatch of it to be, or I'll check the color chart to be sure. Anyway, I'm not going to play around with this too terribly much because it's not interesting to watch. And I want to get a little bit down here on the bottom. See where maybe you can see where the plastic kind of puddled up on the bottom. Using a popsicle stick just to reach in a little bit. Yeah, and by rubbing that, of course, I'm rubbing more paint off of the eliminator on the back. So one thing I haven't decided yet is whether or not to paint the teeth. I'm kind of tempted to paint them a little bit of an off-white. I'm leaving the eyeball part here, where the veins are showing. I'm going to leave that. Just plain plastic. But I think I'm going to paint the teeth when it comes to time to do that. So yeah, the shirt is going to be purple, and the skin is going to be orange, and I'm going to wash. You can see there's all sorts of little ripples. There's a lot of texture in the skin part, wherever it shows, like between the shirt and there's little patches here where the shirt was torn up here and stuff. Paint the skin orange with a brown wash, and just plain brown, maybe umber. but the beard is going to be yellow with smoky ink wash, and we'll see how that turns out. If it looks okay, fine. If not, then just keep repainting it. These paints level pretty well, so if I have to put like 3 or 4 layers of paint on to make it look good, well, that's just what it'll be. The texture on the plastic molding is pretty deep, and so that's not going to lose any of its disappear. I can't get my finger in there, so I'm kind of feeling it with this stick just to see if there's still a ridge there or whether there's a smooth transition from the plastic putty to the original plastic. Anyway, I hope that when this is done, that filling in that beveling, that edge turns out to have been a good thing. And like I said, I'm not going to mess with this too much more. If there's a little bit of unevenness, well, it is the inside of the mouth, and so like these little pits and things, I think that'll be fine. And what I'm going to do is put a little bit of water on a paper towel. Not very much. I want it to dry off eventually. Just get it damp and use the popsicle stick and try to clean any of the dust that came from the sandpaper that cleaned off. Good thing about the plastic putty is, I mean, you could use something like spackle or whatever on this as well, which is softer and sands more easily, but you couldn't wash it like this because it's, you know, it would just wash right off. So I'm going to let that dry off a little bit, and then I'm going to paint up here, repaint all of this area up to the edges to where the skin comes down, and then as much of the inside of the mouth as I can get to with my brush, so that the inside of the mouth is the same color. And if I can't get all of it, I'll get enough of it so that it I'll get enough of it so that it won't look like there's just a sharp line. I kind of feather it in as much as I can. I think if I practice a little bit, I can get this brush pretty much everywhere on the inside of its mouth here. I don't have to get right up to the edge necessarily. You can't really see it that well, but I think this is the brush I'll use because it's a big surface area and I don't want brush marks necessarily. Be able to spread the paint around here. I'll be using a smaller brush. Although I guess I don't need to because I'll be painting the skin up to it later. Yeah, I'll do that. And then we'll paint the beard. But yeah, there's going to be a little rough texture here. So little pits and bumps and things, but that looks like it's more intentional than when there was this 32nd of an inch straight line. Okay, well, that's a lot of messing around for a fig, right? Now let's see. Need this and this. And this brush, because I need to repaint this stuff here. I think touching up these blue spots and the little black spots will wait until after I'm done painting this shirt. And the way the shirt gets painted, there's a lot of it, big areas here, is I'm going to paint around the black edges, and I'm going to leave them kind of rough like that because I like the way that looks. Okay, I'm going to try to feather it in and keep it right up to where the black is, just kind of rough, and then get a much bigger brush out and then paint all of the shirt down over the edge, because I'll be painting the skin up to the shirt later, and I'll be painting inside these areas here where the shirt is torn. I'm using a purple color that I think will actually take a wash, and I'm going to use a wash later because I don't want the shirt to look all nice and clean. Okay, I'm going to take a wash and kind of make it look like there's dirty spots on it. At least that's the intent. But first, I'll put the paper towel down here because I don't want to keep rubbing off the blue paint. Oh, when I paint the shirt, I have to remember to paint the sleeves, especially on this other arm that fell off. Yeah. So now I'm going to repaint the mouth, and we'll see how this all turns out. Using this paint, and this little bottle is going to need quite a stir, so you get to see the ripples in the camera again. This guy. This is the way, not ranting. Just I'm muttering, more muttering than ranting. Wow. Did you have to pay for all those flips? Did you have to use like viewing points or something? That's a lot of flips. And I did a flip already, but I'll do another one. Okay, what we'll do is we're going to flip this popsicle stick with the painted paper towel on it. Oh, there we go. Came off. I'm going to take my glasses off so I can see close up without having to find the little tiny spot on the trifocal. And start putting some paint on here. And I'm just going to repaint this whole thing, just to make sure that the color stays consistent. Good. That'll get painted over later, but I guess that tells you something about how this is going to go. This is this area that filled in with white putty. I'm going to be painting the teeth, so I do want to be kind of careful, even though I'm going to be painting over them later, to not make more of a mess than I need to. And I need to make a mess because that's the thing du jour. Is covering the place where I did the, covering that pretty well. So I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll get the bigger brush out and paint the inside of the mouth. And unless more tiles printed that need working on between now and then, it's quite likely that I'll be working on this again on Friday. Okay, this, just looking at the contours here, the skin kind of folds under. I can tell now that after I paint the skin, I'm going to be bringing this red back and touching up along these edges. Almost 100% sure that that's going to have to happen. This monster sort of thing deserves so much attention to detail. I'm really sure. That's the tooth there. Yeah, probably after some of these teeth are painted, there'll be tooth touch-up as well. Which is why it's important for me to remember what color I'm using, so that when I do the touch-up, it is the same color that it was before. So I got that on. We're hoping that that paint levels nicely. And now I'm going to take a larger brush and push that color in. Move. At least I'm, doing the paint it in a way so that when you come back later, you're painting I should have painted that with a smaller brush, but I didn't. I think this is going okay. Second coat on, get the smaller brush out. But I think I got the color even all the way through there. I think that worked. But I'm going to get the smaller brush out. And you notice, but there were 2 coats on everything except these areas where I had the white putty. So I'm just going to put a little paint on there. Okay, now looking at this, I have to say that I'm actually really very pleasantly surprised at how it turned out. Because before I did all the putty stuff with the sanding and everything else, there was this ridge, this straight line where one plastic part didn't quite fit against the other plastic part. And now that's gone, and there's a little bit of unevenness, but that's okay because that's an inside of the mouth. And now that's not bad. Not bad. Clean these brushes off. Looking at this. And we'll go back and forth and do, the touching up after I paint orange around there and get the demarcation lines neat and where I want them. So I'm going to work on now is I'm going to work on the beard. Here. Let's clean our cup. So the rest of the show will be a little more interesting, the rest of the stream, because I'll be painting stuff. I won't be trying to sand things down. Okay. If we're looking at the beard here, you can see that the beard all comes in contact with either the shirt or the skin, okay, one or the other. And so I can use this larger brush to, just paint up to where I think it should be, knowing that I can get the demarcation line better later, because I'll be painting down to it later. So this way it can move along fairly quickly. But I need to pick the right yellow. I don't want anything really glossy, so I'm not going to use the same yellow, this sun yellow that I use for the flames. That's a little shiny. Doesn't need to have a shiny beard. Let's see what we have in terms of yellows. Did you like the sanding? Okay, I'll tell you what. I think this orange, Nines orange, is going to be the color I might end up using for his skin. He might look more Ninesy than not. We've got this deep, this is the sun yellow, that's what I use for the flames. There's this deep yellow, that's not too bad. And then there's just plain yellow. Flat yellow. I think that's what I'm going to find yellow. And that might require 2 coats because these paints tend to be a little translucent. No, stuck. Okay. Flat yellow. Whoa. Okay. That's why I was stuck. Now you get to see me clean up a mess. Okay? When this got put back, I don't know how this happened, but it's all covered in goo. Okay, this will be fun to watch, right? I'm going to get a bunch of paper towel because it's really a mess. I don't know if the bottle wasn't closed all the way, but there's something else there. It's very sticky. And push things kind of out of the way here. And I'm going to be using isopropyl alcohol. I hope that this dissolves whatever it is, because it's really gross. The whole jar is like covered in this sticky stuff. It looks like it didn't seal, like it wasn't closed all the way, and that the solvent leaked out, because it's all, all you can see is the top of the bottle here. I'll move the bottle so you can see this real exciting cleanup mess. It looked like the solvent, maybe like the jar wasn't closed all the way, and when it was put in here, the solvent leaked out and then sort of dried. It's very unpleasant to touch. Yeah, we had sanding, and now we have relaxing cleanup. I wonder if this paint is still good. I don't know. Well, I'm going to give it a... Yeah, see, the jar was never tight. I just was able to close it a whole lot. I'm going to try to find the Tamiya thinner, because I'm going to make a guess here that enough of that solvent leaked out. Well, it's still really sticky. That paint might not be that good anymore. And it's the color I want to use. If I can't, then I'll pick a different color, but I would just as soon. It also leaked into the little well on the roundabout where this jar was stored, but that's way off camera, so you can't watch me clean that up unless I move the whole camera and everything. But I need to remember to clean it up later. Just look at it. Yeah, that's going to take a while. That's pretty bad. There's a lot of goo there. Okay, so this jar is to the point now where I can touch it and not stick to it. And I'll get my fingers that way too. No, that was really unexpected. Hadn't had that happen before. That just shows you, though, that you need to close these jars tightly, because it's not just that the paint could dry out, it's that you could have a show-worthy mess. And I'm going to reopen this jar and see what we're dealing with. Hi. What we are painting today is a blast from the past. It's a repro of one of the Ed Big Daddy Roth Fink models. This one is the Fink Eliminator. Okay, that's the cover art. This is what one of the professional modelers made it look like, and what I am doing is starting to make it work. I just finished fixing the mouth. What I did, and you can kind of see the unevenness here, is when the mouth part was put in from behind, there was some uneven ridges, and I put some plastic modeling putty on, just, and you can see ripples now, but that's more mouth-like than a straight line seam. So I fixed the mouth. You missed the sanding part. Yeah, we're unpainting the table. You missed the sanding part. I sanded that down. I got the Eliminator painted on the back. It's going to need some touching up because some of the paint has got bumped off, bouncing around in the box. So I'll get the blue-green back out and retouch that up later. But I'm working on the beard now, down here, and I'm going to be painting it yellow to more or less match his hair. This hair was done ages and ages ago. So I don't have the same colors anymore. But I'm going to paint this yellow and then use the smoky ink wash to bring out all the highlights of the hair on the beard. I'm not going to be real careful about the demarcation line between the beard and the rest of the model because I'll be painting that orange later. The skin is going to be orange. So I get the beard, let the beard dry, and then wash it. And then the shirt, the ragged, beat-up shirt, is going to be painted purple. No, I didn't prime it. I probably should have, but no, I didn't. So it's got, finger oils and stuff all over it. If I do another one, I've got like 8 or 9 more of these. I've got the Surf Fink and an Angel Fink and a Rat Fink and a Rat Fink on a bike, that kind of thing. But yeah, it didn't get primed, so I just need to be careful not to be scraping it too much and washing it occasionally. What happened though is I've got the yellow paint out for the beard, the base coat for the beard, and it was not capped tightly, and it was stored sort of on its side, and the solvent leaked out, made a huge sticky mess all over the bottle, and I need to get some solvent in here to thin the paint down, otherwise it's not going to be very usable. Yeah, it really should have been primed. I agree before I started painting it, but I'm real honest about this. This thing got started. I started putting this together and painting it. I'm going to say like 10 years ago, seriously, and got so far as to gluing it together, filling in the cracks, and my son painted the hair, and it's just been sitting in a box since then. And I ran out of dungeon tiles one time a couple of weeks ago and said, well, what am I going to do now? And the obvious answer was, well, I've got this thing laying in a box. Let's bring it out and start working on it. So that's why it's not primed, because it was just laying in a box and I was filling in some time. So I'm going to pay that price with some, anyway, yeah, paint flaking. So the way this thing, yeah. What's even worse is that when I retired, I thought, I'm going to have all this free time. What am I going to possibly do with like the 10 hours a day I used to spend getting to and from and doing my job? So I said, well, I used to build models when I was a kid, so let's start buying them. And I just bought way more than I really care to admit. There's some really cool models that I had thought that I would be doing over the last 8 years. Well, what you're seeing here is as far as I got, pretty much. So I'm gonna get Fink Eliminator done. Yeah, there's still some spots I missed when I did the red. I'm gonna get Fink Eliminator done probably sometime in the next million years, and then I'll either work on another Fink or I'm going to work on a submarine. Yeah, 30. Okay. Or is that? I have to put my glasses on. I want to see the number here. 80. Okay. 80 is good. 80 deserves to be said it's a box of shame. If it was only 30, it would have been, yeah, what's that? That's like a couple of weeks worth of work. Anyway, yes, so this was in the box of shame forever and ever. And guess I'm going to see if I can finish it and see how it looks. I think I probably did a better job when I was 12 years old with the old Testors enamels, which were really kind of hard to work with compared to these. I probably did a better job then than I'm doing on this, but yeah, we'll see. So there'll be little touch-ups here, like on the back and things where the paint got rubbed off, but here. And I've got a bottle of Tamiya thinner. I'm going to be off camera. I'm trying to find it. It's got moved around and put away, but I bought some official Tamiya paint thinner to officially thin paint, which is what I need right now to try to make this yellow work. But if that's not going to work, I'm just going to put some denatured alcohol in it. It'll dry faster than it should. Maybe I'll put a little water and a little. It needs to be thinned down. Yeah, I can't find anything. Yep. What I'm looking for is an eyedropper. Good as the other one, but it'll do. So I don't want to try to pour out of a gallon bottle. Either make this thing that paint unusable, or it'll say that's, I don't know. We're going to find out. Cap it tightly this time, not like it was not capped before, and put it on the old stirring machine. Give it a good mix and see what happens. If it's a little on the thin side, that's good. If it's too thick yet, it'll be hard to use. Okay, so the feature of this model is the Fink Eliminator has this hammer. And this will be fun to paint later. He's beating up on this smushed car. So this car is actually going to be a challenge to paint. There's just lots of bits to it. I'm going to paint a glossy red. And you got the tires and the hubcaps and the bumpers. So there's a lot of colors that end up going on here. I'm not quite sure what color to paint the windshields. I might just do that white. It's got these little eyeball headlights, and the tongue has actually got some tire tread on it. So this will be kind of fun to paint. I hope. I'm going to give this some more stirring. Getting really good shaking here. Yeah, I know, it really, sometimes it doesn't very much, but the last couple of times I've been using it, takes everything up. Okay, well, I'm going to open this up again, and we'll see what we've got. We have, it's yellow. At least there's there. So I'm going to use this big brush on here because I'm not too terribly worried about the demarcation line between the beard and the skin. I want to make sure that the beard gets yellowed. And then when I paint the skin orange, I'll be much more careful. Yellow is coming off the brush onto the model. It's kind of... I think I put a little too much alcohol in, but as long as it's covering, I guess I can't complain too much. This yellow should be pretty good with the brownish wash on it. painting intentionally a little bit further into the neighboring color, just to make sure that it's covered. Sometimes on this model, you know, there's some really, like, the incision lines for the letters are nice and deep and easy to work with. Sometimes, like here, yeah, it's like, yeah. Where one ends and the other one starts is kind of up to your imagination. You know, you can kind of see it. Once the paint goes on, there's a little bit of a ridge there. Now, at least with the alcohol thinner in it, this should dry quickly. And if it dries quickly, then I can get the wash on it and see how it looks. It does not look good with the yellow. I mean, it's just yellow, right? But what I'm hoping is that with the brown wash, it'll end up looking like that. If I get the beard base coated in yellow, I might start painting the shirt. The beard goes right up to its ear here. Yeah, like I did to thin this paint. I think it worked out okay. I hope it dries nice and flat, like it should. What I fully expect to happen sometime along this process is that I'm going to break this other arm off because I keep bumping into it. Just have to jerry-rig something up. Do some sort of jury rigging to keep the arms from flopping around or falling off. Okay, well, it looks like it's up to there. Just trying to see where the edges are supposed to be. Okay, so what is supposed to be yellow appears to be yellow. Now I'm going to cap this very tightly. A rave effect. Oh, when the paint shaker shakes. Yeah. Maybe Alexis can work on that. That when the whole thing is just kind of waving like that like different colors can appear. What I'm going to do here is on the back where it says Eliminator, where the blue paint is being rubbed off a little bit, that I will touch up later, is the shirt's going to be purple. And yeah. And what I want to do is I've used that brush that I just used on the beard. What I want to do is apparently stick my fingers in the beard. That's where I grabbed it on the front. I very carefully get yellow paint all over myself and mess up the beard that I painted. Looks like it's still okay. Without getting my fingers in the beard, what I want to do is get the purple paint and paint up to the black of the Eliminator, where it says Eliminator. Okay. And there is an incision here. You can see it on the box. The model that was done. You can see that there's a very clean line between the inside and outside of the letters. Okay, that was outlined. But I like the way it's rough. I like that look. And so I'm going to paint up to the black, and I'm going to leave it like it is as much as I can. And then I'm going to paint about that far away from the letters all the way around, because then I use the larger brush. I don't want to any more than is absolutely necessary because lack of steady hand or whatever. I don't want to get the purple paint all over everything else. And then I'm hoping that levels well and that we won't get too many brush marks after that dries and I paint the rest of it purple. And it's going to be a very flat purple. I'm going to use a wash on it, kind of streaky, in a streaky way, because I want it to look dirty. Anyway, purple. I actually brought the purple paint out before. Yes, there it is. Didn't lose it. This is the color of the Eliminator letters. At least I think so. Since I'm making a mess of everything, I might as well triple check that, right? Color chart out. It's the last thing I want to do. Be sure it's the blue-green and not the turquoise. Because what I don't want to do is touch it up with a different color and then have to touch it up and keep touching it up, and the next thing you know is there's going to be this big mound of touch-up. Okay, ready? Time for stirring. Yeah, this should shake things up pretty well. Little waviness. There's hitting that pretty well, right? That really would look good with like sparkles and streamers and things. What I probably should do, it's hardly moving at all, bigger, is I could get a little piece of foam, we have it laying around, and put it underneath this so that it absorbs the vibrations. But okay. Get the palette over here. I'm going to be bringing this out again to do touch up on the inside of the mouth later. Anyway, I'm going to start putting some purple paint down, which looks like it did not mix as well as I would like. Give that some more stirring. I want to waste that paint, but I also don't want to stir it up in there a little bit. More than I need there. Yeah, so I'm going to start painting up to the black. This purple paint. And I want the purple paint to go right up to the black, but I want to keep the uneven look of it. Take a fair amount of time. This shirt's probably going to show all sorts of brush marks, and yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. But It's the way it's going to be. The purple to go up to the black. I don't want to have the white showing, but I also don't want to lose the effect of it being, you know, less than even. I like it looking ragged. Because, you know, this is not Fink Eliminator. You know, he's working in a junkyard smashing cars, so. I think it should be called Eliminator Fink, because when you say Fink Eliminator, it makes it sound like he's eliminating Finks, but he's not. He is a Fink doing elimination. So I'm thinking it should be Eliminating Fink, or Eliminator Fink. And just my opinion about that. This would be a lot faster if I just went up to the edge of the black instead of trying to keeping the raggedness. But try to, you know, keep in the idiom of junkyard Fink. You know, I want to get far enough away from the letters so that when I use the larger brush later, mix it up much. There's some places like here where the shirt is torn, and those will be painted the body color later because the shirt is torn, and the guy's orangeness will be showing through. When I first painted these when I was 12 and 13, I looked at the box top and tried to match the colors as well as I could to the ones that were on the box, and that was kind of an interesting challenge because the tester's enamels, on my budget at least, didn't come in a whole lot of different colors, and so frequently I had to mix my own colors, mix my own paint colors to make that work. That was kind of fun. I got really good at color mixing. Could have gotten a job at, you know, a hardware store mixing paints for people. But I went to high school instead, so there was that. There's a little bit of white showing through. I'm going to touch that up with black, because it's a black touch up here and there all over the place. There are some places where I just stay black instead of purple. Let's see, we've got about a third of it done here. And then use a big brush and just spread a whole lot of purple paint around. Get the rest of the shirt colored in. This is kind of an unintentional effect. The ragged edges of it. There's that incision around the lettering, and I wanted that to be filled in, so I just spread the black all over the place, knowing that I'd be painting up to it later. But I like the ragged look, so I'm not making a nice even line. And I'm going to come back with the black paint and get these little bits of white showing here and there. Fill those in with the black. Maybe make it even look a little more ragged here and there. Right along the edges there, sometimes some of the white is showing through. Now I know what's going to happen since I didn't prime this, of course, is that I'm going to have to be really careful because this purple is just going to rub off everywhere. Do this kind of thing again. I'm going to take the time to spread some primer, spray some primer all over the model before I start painting it. Not using much of this purple paint. When I get the bigger brush out, I'll use that up real quickly. doing this and noticing I'm so close to it that I can't really see how it's looking. So I hope it's looking okay. At least it's, you know, it's purple. It's the color we're using. And I'm preserving the ragged edge, so that's good. So after I get all the rest of the purple on here, then I'm going to come back and do some touching up with the black and the blue. Basically the kind of fixing up, not necessarily evening out, but fixing up the spots that where the white plastic is showing through. For those of you who are watching this, clean and prime your bottles before you start painting them, because otherwise you end up with this issue that I've got here. And is also detecting another issue, which will be an issue because I'm not sure where I'm going to hold this thing. It's way too big to put on one of those sticky tack holders. Not sure how I'm going to hold this while I'm painting the shirt. I don't remember how I did that when I was young. I was able to somehow pull that off. Probably making less of a mess on my hands than I will today. Yeah, I think a purple shirt is going to work okay here. I think that'll be a good color for the Eliminator Fink. Bright yellow for the beard. That brown, the brown wash better be effective. There we go. That's how you pull the paint off. Touching the slightly wet yet paint with your finger. I've got like three kinds of black paint. Make sure I use the right one. Some of them are glossy, and I wanted the flat one. As you can see for this, okay. That's going to dry, and then as I'm doing it, I'm realizing that the shirt comes up against the beard here, and that will be a problem unless I wash the beard first. And I've got all this paint here, all this purple paint. It's just going to end up going to waste because I really can't use it until I wash the beard. Fortunately, there's a bottle of it, which will be more than enough to cover the shirt. After the shirt dries, then I'll do the touch-up of the black and the blue-green on the Eliminator. But now, But first, I'm going to get the smoky ink out. And this is going to be the wash that that'll be going on the beard. And we'll see how it looks. Pretty dark color, which is good. I want that to be a whole lot less bright yellow. It looks sort of like the hair. I know it won't match because the base coat, neither the base coat nor the wash are the same. But as long as it's fairly close, the hair on the top of your head and your beard are not necessarily the same. They are similar often, but not identical. Anyway, let's get some of this wash on the brush and start brushing it. It's a lot less yellow and it's a lot more brown. The texturing of the hair is not, well, that'll be okay. Not as deep as it is on the top of the head. But it seems to be working, especially here. This is good here. Yeah, it's working down in there pretty well. And it changes the color nicely. It's not that bright yellow anymore. And this will get a little bit lighter as it dries. And once that's dry, then I can paint the shirt, because the shirt comes up to the beard in many places, like all the places, other than at the very top where it's up against the skin there. Okay, so that's really not too bad. Okay, that caught the, the texture, the beardiness, even on the bottom here. Got that pretty well. And I think it's going to come pretty close in color to the way the hair was painted when that was done. Oh, yeah. So that needs to dry before I can do more purple. And this brush needs to be thoroughly cleaned. What can I do next? The handle can just be wood, and we have some nice browns and some washes that'll make that look decent. The hammer itself, I want it to be kind of lighter on the outside and darker on the inside. The eye like, what color should I make the eye like? That's another one of those where it's incised, but I'm not going to put an outline around the eye like. I'm just going to paint that Um, maybe ink even. These are like brown tones on the hammer. Maybe like leather brown or buff on the top and the bottom, and maybe flat earth on the mallet, and then the darker wood or red brown on the handle kind of thing. Well, you know, this is a Fink, right? Do this. This we'll see how. Always make it a different color later. This is going to be the color of the I like. Just because. It's still a little tacky. What says I like more than pink? Just the color of Valentine's Day. I like Pontiac or whatever. Maybe I'll do a decal on it. Fill in the incision, and I'll be painting up to it with the color of the mallet color later. So I want to go make sure it goes up and around the outs, extends beyond it, like I did with the eliminator on his back. His pants are not going to be all that special. They're just jeans, so they'll be painted jeans blue. Gray wash or something, just to make them look a little worn and dirty. So with the purple, I have to paint the outline around the beard, so that's going to be another one of those this little brush, painting the outline. Yeah, the E is really actually kind of hard to see once it's painted like that. So there, my like is going to be pink against the kind of buff color that the hammer will be. So I think what I'm going to do is that purple's still good. Let's see how this is. I think it's dry enough. Is I'm actually going to start, bring this around again. And as long as this purple paint is still good, I'm going to start painting the edge of the beard here. Because the shirt goes all the way around here. And the edge of the beard is kind of an arbitrary sort of thing. You can sort of see it here, where there's a sort of a contour in the print, but it's, it's kind of like just wherever it ends up being. where that's going to be. And then we'll go right up to the ear. The shirt stops there, and the ear starts. You can see it right there. So that's that. And then I'm going to paint it far enough away, like I did with the lettering, so that I can use the larger brush without having too many, retouching this would be a problem. So I just don't want to retouch the beard. Once you've got something base coated and washed like that, duplicating the wash part on just like a spot or two is really next to impossible. So I don't want to have to do that. So I'm going to paint a fair distance away from the beard here. I use the bigger brush, painting up to it. I don't want to get purple on the beard. So we're saying that's where the beard ends and the shirt starts. So we've got an inconvenient fold in the shirt there. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'm glad I'm doing this. I'm using up that purple paint that's in the well there. It's outlined all at the same time. Well-trimmed beard. It's kind of surprising. And again, it comes up to the ear. And that's where the skin color comes in, right up here. So we'll take a step back here and take a look at the beard outline. Yeah, I guess that's okay that it comes out there. It looks like that was the intent. It looks okay all around. Maybe a little bit even, or maybe a little bit here. Okay. I haven't broken the arm yet. That's still a surprise. All right. So we'll use that brush. And there's still a fair amount of purple paint left, so I'm going to start with the bigger brush and use that up and just see how it goes. I want to estimate how far it's going to spread. But what I might do is something like this. I might take like this arm, okay? Because this arm is separate. And I just take this purple paint and get it all around the edges there, because I'll be painting up to it. It's probably a little excessive. But that's where the shirt kind of overhangs the skin. And it's just about enough paint for this. So I get that ragged edge painted in. Do that all the way around here. And then we'll just paint this whole thing. Just enough paint for that. This is another spot where it's torn. I'll paint that in. Try to level it so that there aren't any brush marks, and then we do the inside here too, because that's going to show. And we want it to show the shirt color, not the plastic color. Okay, so that used up the paint, and this will give us a good idea of how this purple is going to look. Think that through. Let me grab my little steeper duper holder thing here. Put an alligator clip on the finger and stick it in the hole so that it's not bouncing into things. That's really clever. Yeah, okay. Super holder thing. Managed to rub the paint off there. That was good too. Yeah, so I'm gonna go back and touch up with the black, because I want the black to extend out onto the purple in a few spots. And then there will no doubt be some purple touch-up as well. Little white spots I want to cover with the black paint. Okay, so time for a break here. I'm going to try to wash these out in this saturated mess of wash water I've got here, and let that stuff dry. And I'm going to come back, and what I'll be doing is finishing painting this shirt purple with this brush, and then in the spirit of trying to finish something, I'm going to take the time to do the touch up on the eliminator. Touch up the blue-green, and I'm going to be putting blots, little spots of black where the white plastic seems to be showing through just a little bit. There'll just be little dots all over the place. But it'll give it that kind of ragged look that I'm going for as well. So that'll be good. Yeah, hot pink. Finally used it, see? It's the I like pink. I mean, I didn't say that I like pink, but it says... I get it right for the camera. Is I like. It is pretty hot pink, though. I mean, that's very pink. No mistaking that color for anything else. Okay, we'll set that down, continue to touch things in a way that makes the paint spread around. And then the other thing I might do, because this is drying and you can see how the purple is purpling, is I might get out the gray wash and just take a look at how, since this is easy to touch up, I might just get some gray wash out and just brush on it to make it look like streaked, like it's dirty. But now it is time for a break. I usually say I'll be back in 20 minutes, and it's usually 30. So I will say I will be back in the next 20 to 30 minutes, and we will get the shirt painted purple. Get the shirt painted purple, and then I'm going to do a bunch of touch-up, tiny little bits of red needs to be touched up there. The letters and the edges around the letters. And probably the purple, because when you're covering big surfaces like that, for some reason, there's always little spots that form. And and then I'll experiment with some wash on the purple to see how it looks. I was thinking of just using the plain gray, but I don't think there's enough pigment in the gray. We'll stop here. This should be dark there, right? It's inside between that. And so I'm going to just put some wash in here in these spots where it should be dark instead of light. Yeah, that's good. Makes the beard look a little dirty, but that's probably appropriate. Yeah, so come back to purple and do some dark gray wash, just sparingly, just sort of dry brush it on if I can, because I don't want the shirt to look clean. He's working in a junkyard smashing cars, right? Right. And then, depending on the time, I'm going to experiment with the skin color. I'm going to use this Armageddon, and paint the arm the color that I want, that orange. You'll see how many coats it takes. And then when that dries, you can see there's all these little indentations. He's got basically a hairy arm. That's going to be brown wash, kind of like the beard was. but I'm not going to use the smoky ink. I want to use one of the lighter browns for that. And what color? I was just going to use some sort of orange for the skin. Maybe a tribute to Nine's orange skin and purple clothes. Be washing it, it'll get darker. I'm going to use the light orange. Okay, well, I'll look for it. Good break. And before I tune back in. So he's coming along. That's not too bad. The beard's come along. You can start to see where the shirt is filling in. The mouth is turning out okay. I need to paint the teeth. I'll probably do that after I do the flesh tone, whatever that ends up being. And then we'll be working our way down to just jeans and a belt. You know, that's not a little thing there. That's not going to be very challenging compared to some of the rest of this. Yeah, break time. I'll be back sometime in the next 20 to 30 minutes. See you soon. We're back from break. What I'm going to be doing next, put him away. Okay, so the things I need to do yet, I mean, there's a lot left to be done, but what I'd like to get done today is get the base coat of purple on this shirt and then do the touching up. Okay, that would all need to be done. But the other thing I really want to do is do some experimentation here. I've got this arm that fell off, right? So that's handy. I've got two potential skin colors. You've got this one and this one. And what I'm going to do is test them here on both sides of the forearm. I'm not going to be really careful. I'm not going to be getting up to the purple or anything with the colors because I'm not sure which one I'm going to end up using, but I'll paint one on one side and one on the other and then let them dry, and then I'm going to try this brown washout. Not a washout. Try this brown wash on them to see how it looks. And as I've said before, these paints they level pretty well, and the texture on the model is really quite deep. So if I have to paint over, and I will, because I'll be picking one color or the other, not both. When I paint over it, it will be okay. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing, is hydrating. Paper towel. Yeah, just one color or the other. It doesn't matter which one goes first. This one is light orange. Very orange. Let's see what it looks like when it dries. Let's get your brush if I want to be able to get it. Hold it by the hand here as I want to get it into the nooks and crannies, but also spread it evenly. But you can see this is going to be one of those things where after I choose the color, smooth part here too, so I'm going to see how it looks with the wash on it. You know, be using a small brush to paint it up into the nooks and crevices and little dots and things where the shirt is ripped. So it's that color. The other color is also sort of orangish, but it's got more brown in it. Neither one of them will look the same after it's washed. need to squeeze out nearly as much paint as I did with the other color. You can see in the palette right off that it's a lot browner, a little more yellow, a little more brown. Yeah, that might look okay. That's why we're testing these. There's the does it cover the purple, and obviously it doesn't. So that's an issue. So I'm going to have to do something about that, because it looks okay on the bite. But way too translucent. I'm going to test this one on the purple too. Is that they don't cover the purple. So it's going to take multiple coats up there on the edge, or I'm going to have to get out the white primer or something and paint over the purple, and I need to keep that in mind. But we'll see which one ends up looking better, and then we'll worry about that later. Older thing here, and let those paints dry, and then we'll see if we need a second coat or not. Looks like both of them need a second coat, so I'll definitely let those dry. While that's happening, gotta paint the shirt, right? So. And there's a lot of shirt to paint, so we're going to stir out the purple paint and start spreading it around. The other thing I'm going to do with the arm there, since I painted the shoulder purple, the shirt part, is try 2 different colors of washes. Because, like I said, I don't want it to look pristine. I want it to look kind of dirty and worn. So I've got a blue-gray wash and a dark-gray wash. And I'm going to test those on the purple shirt. I'm doing the top first. And then I will do the bottom. And with this big brush, again, I'm just going over the edges there. With this larger brush, it goes pretty quickly. That's where the arm that came off goes. You can see the color change there as it dries. Ooh, that was a real bozo move. No offense meant to bozos. Sorry about that, but yeah, that was not well done. I am making an effort, hopefully with more success than I have so far, to hold it by the pants when you're down at the bottom, to get the paint in there. I might need a smaller brush to do that. that to be painted the purple down there. You know, I'll have to get the smaller brush out and reach into that before we finish here. This is more of that, getting it onto where the skin color is going to be. And as we saw, that will be a little bit of a problem because the skin color is so translucent it doesn't cover. Yay. Some of these paints are really good. They'll cover another color without a problem. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, getting under the arm rather than lifting the arm up. But, you know, that's why we're going to do touch-up, right? Right here. Little belly fold. You know, at least it was right on the surface there, and I'll be able to touch that up pretty easily. But it was just really, yeah, it was just amazingly clumsy. Spectacularly clumsy. Bottom ragged edge. Shoot, I mean the shirt is all ragged. It's got holes in it. It's ragged on the bottom. You don't want it to look like freshly laundered, right? So that's why I'm going to get some washes out as soon as I finish getting around the sides here and test them out on the shirt, on the disembodied arm over there. Not on that. Looks like what I want to do is, now that I'm looking at it from this angle, a little different angle, is it looks to me like the purple should go there a little bit more onto where the beard is. I need to get the spot of paint yet because I need to get the small brush into under the arm, and I'm going to touch that up at the same time. Just looking at it from this angle, I don't like the way that came out. Take much, but it definitely looks better. Back there. I'll go around and look at spots. But pretty much I need to get it in here. Reach in there and get paint on those surfaces without pulling the arm off of the model. Let me go down. Not too bad. It'll do. Yeah, that looks like I got it pretty much everywhere it needs to go. I'm just going to look around quick to see if I missed any major spots. There will be little dots and things that will show up as the paint dries and shrinks. You know, do the black touch up and the blue touch up. Little black on there. I want to make that look a little more ragged on the E. But yeah, other than, you know, touching up the black, I'll do that first and then I'll do the blue. You know, you rotate the model and then suddenly see that you might have missed an entire section of the shirt. And I want to make sure that that didn't happen. Yeah, the shirt goes up around the ear and the beard there and around the belly. And it's covered, and we'll look at the other side. Same sort of thing is true here. So we will call that a success. That purple dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to get out some wash colors. Get out the brown wash. You know, the gray wash and the blue wash, and I want to test it on the sleeve. First, I think these paints are still okay. It's still used. I'm going to put a second coat on the orange and the brownish orange. I'm going to have to clean it. That was just, oh well. Yeah, this is the orange. It's this color. You know, we're going to put a second coat on. It pretty obviously needs a second coat, and I want to see. It doesn't do too badly in covering up the purple. And the second coat kind of does, but I'm going to have to, that's going to have to be a multi-stage process. Okay. So painting a primer on it up to wherever I want, and then painting the orange over that, because yeah, both of these colors are just too translucent, and there's a lot of boundary area with the purple. So we will take 3 times as much time as I was hoping to do that. Well, painting, to do things over and over. And this is the more yellowish brownish color. The other side of the arm. Also going to second coat this and see how it looks against the purple. And it too does not cover even with a second coat. Okay, so there's 2 coats of each color, kind of a bright orange color and kind of a yellowish brownish color. We'll let these dry on the magic drying rack, and I'm going to get out the washes. Maybe another paper towel, and maybe new wash water. I've got 2 colors of wash. I've got this blue-gray, which is a fairly light color, but it might give me the effect I'm looking for. And the other is a dark gray, which will definitely show. Give them a stir here. Start with the blue-gray one. Attempting to do is make the purple, the cloth, look kind of dirty and worn. So I don't necessarily need to color it a lot, but I want it to look not clean. Let's slap this on in an uneven way. Half of it. There we go. That looks pretty splotty. Cleaned out. And with this gray, I'm gonna almost dry brush it as opposed to slurry it. It's definitely going to be dark. Kind of streaky. too much of it, but just some. Now we're going to let those dry, and then take a look later and see how they look. If either one looks decent at all, if not, it's pretty easy to just repaint it. It has to be repainted anyway because I've got two different kinds on here, right? So, let's brush off. Drink of water. Thought that was mist. Just amazing. Can't tell if that was mist or pulled it off somehow. And as good a time as any to look around. I mean, a little bit of unevenness in the color, I think that's going to be fine. But if there are spots that are just altogether not painted, I want to catch those. Yeah, these little arms, I guess, are actually kind of a pain. Yeah, I don't see anything real obvious. So still a little bit tacky, so I'm going to wait a bit before I start doing the black touch-up. These guys coming along here. It's not totally dry yet, but the black is definitely streaky. I mean, if you paint it as a streak, it's just going to be streaky. The blue kind of, you know, bubbling it on there, so there's little bubbles of things. I'm kind of liking how that looks. And that's dirty, streaky, that's fine, but this is just really uneven and burbly, and maybe if I can duplicate that on a vast surface of something, that will be the combination I think I'm going to go with, and then it's not so shiny. Streaky just makes it look kind of like that wasn't the way it was meant to be. So they're coming along okay. We'll be able to test the brown on there sooner or later. Don't need to have giant purple blots on my fingers, though. If I can get those out. I'm going to take just a moment to get some clean brush washing water. Playing around with different colors. Be right back. Seems to be going through an unusual amount of wash water here today because I'm moving from one color to the other, and each one has been requiring anyway, especially with the big brush, it's been requiring a fair amount of pigment that's up in the big brush. Okay, get some clean towels. What can we do next? Is the purple dry enough to be able to do the black on the lettering? Good thing, stick your fingers in it. Yeah, I'm going to do the black on the lettering. It's this model color black. It's a very flat black. The other one I have is kind of glossy. Hardly shaking the table at all. Weird. Keep going around here. You don't need very much of this. Just going to be doing tiny little dots. Like here. Black. Get the blue as well. Good thing I'm planning to do blue touch-up because in many places here. What I'm doing is kind of intentionally making the back outline a little bit ragged. Some little spots where the white's kind of showing through, and you don't want that. Well, this is taking a little while because, yeah, it just is. And then there's little spots that should be purple that aren't. We'll have to do some little purpley touching up too. I've gone quiet here as I'm focusing on dots. Little dots of paint that I want to go in certain spots and not others, and doing that with moderate success right now. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's the light showing through or if it's just the glossiness of the wet paint. It's almost worth leaving like that, but I'm not. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for the main body of the shirt color to show up on the lettering. Yep. So we're just doing dots, spots. And then we have to do a few little spots of purple. And quite a few spots of blue. Not so much trying to make it look even or uneven particularly as it is making sure that there aren't any like white spots that are neither black nor purple. Yeah, I think I'm getting pretty close to having that part done. Yeah, just some little spots of purple paint. I'm gonna fix that while the purple is still wet there. And looking at it. Oh, this happened. Good grief. Really? I must have been touching it there. Yeah. Need to be purple. You know, so I was going for that kind of ragged around the edges look, and it looks ragged, so that'll do. Weird that way. Be real careful handling this later as I'm painting things like the jeans and so on, because not having them primed, the paint adherence is less than perfect. Do that. Yeah, so I'm looking at the purple-black boundaries here, trying to make sure that there aren't any white spots. I don't care if it's ragged between the purple and the black. That was the intent. Could be black. That is still white. And then I'm going to get out the blue-green and touch up the illuminator bit. And then that logo bit, whatever, you know. Okay. That's what's happening there, is that little thing is rubbing. Its arm is rubbing. There was it there. Do a little spot of purple again there. Arm rubbed it. Best to hold onto it in a way that does not make that happen. So like that. That's going to be his pose now for a bit. Okay. And then, yeah, this one, the blue-green. So let's do these little bits here first. Here, I think I'm going to paint over that, yeah. It's this little spot on the R that got overpainted. There. Monitor, there we go. Yeah, it didn't take much to make that look better, did it? These little spots. So there's several errors here. Let me get the little one first down at the bottom. And then we'll do the place where I got purple paint all over. There. Now that's a much better looking illuminator. Yeah, I like the ragged black. That stayed pretty well. I got the white spots out of the way. And the purple shirt, there's little variations on the color, but I think that's going to be a feature, not a flaw, when we actually look at washing it. See if I can get the paint out of here. And I think there's any painted surfaces touching anything, so I'm just going to leave well enough alone there. And we're going to pull this arm back out again, our experimental arm. And I'm going to look at where the wash was. And this is where the blue wash was. And this is where the gray wash was. And you can compare that to the purple. So the blue actually shows, especially if I let it blob up fairly heavily and then spread out. And I like that it is not as glossy as the gray, the dark gray. And so this is what we're going to be doing on the shirt, is using the blue-gray wash and blobbing it. What we're going to do first, though, is we're not using this, and so it's re-base coated so that we can start fresh. Do it. And again, you can see that the paint goes on a whole lot brighter than later. Okay, so take care of that, and we'll get this out. The purple that I just put on the brush out of the brush. I want to use on the arm and our two experimental skin tones. This kind of orangey one, and there's a really orangey one. Okay, what I want to use on those is this dark brown wash. This, you can see right off, the pigment is kind of settled. This has not really been used or opened. So, you ready for some shaken excitement here? Better. You can see that the light brown pigment is no longer just settled on the bottom. But I'm going to give this a good minute and a half. Okay, well, that was great fun. Yeah, so I'm using this big brush, and I'm going to be applying wash, this brown wash, to both test colors. Because what I want is, the color I want to be toned down, but I also want the wash to get into all the squiggles that are printed on it, and then I'll see which one looks better. And whichever one looks better will then become the skin tone for the rest of this guy. As we discovered, though, neither of the colors is terribly good at covering the purple. You can see it shows through even after 2 coats. So I'm going to have to make some decisions about what to do with that. So I'm going to drop out a couple of drops of this. Or how heavy I want it in the brush, so we'll start light and work our way up. I want to paint it with the grain, so to speak, first. Where did that come from? Oh, okay. Wow. That was... Tell you what, that was really kind of... That was doofus. I've got the blue-green paint there. And the brush managed to get into it. I wanted to get down into those lines, and it's not doing okay there, but not up on top. So I'm just going to keep, do a little more brushing than I might otherwise. And initially, you could see how a whole lot of it on the top. To look kind of uniform on the main parts, and then get down into... I don't need to make it look streaky. Need streaks. So kind of like that. And then let's see what it looks like on this this color. So putting a lot on the brush and then brushing it across seems to be a technique that works. Well, looking at this, I can say right now either one would be okay. I don't know. I'm just going to let that dry and see what it looks like when it's dry, and then maybe get some audience participation or something. I'm not sure what. The other thing I'm going to need to test, is I'll test it on the arm, is because paints either one of these, whichever one I decide to use, doesn't cover the purple, is I need to find a white that even if it doesn't totally cover the purple, because the whites tend to be kind of translucent too, at least primes it enough so that the 2 coats of whichever orangish color I end up using do cover. So let me look at my chart. See what I've got. The other thing I've got is I've got these pearlescents. If I really wanted to, I suppose I could put purple or violet pearlescent on this shirt, and that would be wrong, I'm sure. So I've got white and dead white, and flat white. I'm just looking at, because their coverage is not all that terrific, but I want it to be kind of flat. Either the dead white or the white flat. Probably I'm going to see if they're Pirata Tamiya white and see how that works. I'm just going to use it on the arm here as further testing. There'll be a whole lot of repainting on that. And then I need to decide what color to paint the teeth. I really want it very light. I might just use ivory. That's a good kind of color, but it'll be off-white so that he doesn't have like these gleaming teeth. It'll be slightly off-white. And I might even put a little wash on it, on some of them to brown them out. So let's find this one. Give it a good shake. This hasn't been used in Okay, what I'm going to be doing is using a little brush, and just as I would be painting one of these oranges, whichever one I end up using, up into these spaces here, I'm going to be painting the white there, and then whichever base color I decide to use, I'm going to test that on the white paint, the flat white, to see how it covers, right? So start putting white paint on here. This seems a good test of my painting skills anyway, right? So I'm painting this up to the edge, not down into the little incision, because we're going to act as though the incised part is part of the shirt. I can already begin to tell you that this is going to take the better part of forever, because I have to outline. I'll be outlining the shirt twice. Once with the white, and then once with the body color. And this is a little bit translucent. You can see the purple through it. But the real question is not whether you can see the purple through the white, but what does the base coat look like when it's painted to the white that's been painted onto the purple. And at some point, not too distant future, we'll be finding out the answer. I'm just going to just do the whole thing. Why not? something that's just going to have to be done regardless. And it looks like there'll be some purple touch-up coming in another direction. Because, you know, when you're painting it twice, I doubt there will be some dispute between the two colors as to where they go. Which is why I am not going to wash the purple with the blue wash, the gray blue wash, until after the skin color is done. Because of the purple touch-up that needs to be done. And I'll definitely want to do that before I wash it off. Do this purple coverage with the white paint all the way around the arm. How many layers of paint are going to end up on this arm before we're done? There's purple touch-up coming, definitely that. It looks like I lied. It looks like what we're going to do is push the skin color down into the valleys for the most part. Painting up to the purple shirt. That seems to be the way this wants to go. Let's just hope when I do the purple touch-up that works well. Brush marks and stuff on the white, that isn't so much of a problem for me. It's whether or not the base color of whichever skin color I decide to use, whether that covers where the purple used to be. So there's these little tears in the shirt. Maybe we're going to practice on those too. I managed to do this when I was like 12. Maybe I had a steadier hand, maybe the lighting was better. I was just as nearsighted then as I am now. Maybe I just didn't. I don't remember if I painted these little tears in the shirt or not. The paint is gumming up on the brush. Making it a little bit hard to spread. Some of this is, the boundary is arbitrary. It'll be interesting to try to get these tiny little bits washed. And they're going to have to be washed because otherwise, I mean, as you can see, the skin tone color changes significantly with the wash on. The boundary line is a little arbitrary, and sometimes it goes down into the incised part, sometimes it doesn't. But the important part is that the line is smooth. This all looks pretty weird with the white on it and everything, doesn't it? Right. Yeah, when we're done here, I've got the solvent from the yellow paint that spilled in that to clean out. but I won't bother all of you while I try to get a paper towel soaked in isopropyl alcohol down in there. Okay, well, that color, and we have this color. Get an opinion from upstairs. Then I'm going to have to do, just a whole lot of touching up with the white paint all over these edges, the ragged edges. So it'll be the white paint and then the orange paint. Oh, my, and having not primed it, just touching it. Just the tiniest little touch with a fingernail, and the paint comes off. So we're going to have to be really cautious in our manipulation of it. And then maybe at the end, I might just have to spray the whole thing with a varnish just to keep the paint on. We're learning a lesson there. I'm kind of liking the orange with the brown. That's kind of a bright color. This isn't bad. In fact, if we just saw that and nothing else, you'd say that's kind of a decent skin color for the model. But this orange looks pretty decent, especially if you can get the wash on it fairly, so it's down in the divots and fairly even on the rest of it. I'm going to take it upstairs when we're done here and get an opinion from our aesthetics folks. This face, and all of this will be, maybe I'll take that up too so we can match it against the beard. And it's almost the same as the beard color, when it looks like when that's done. I'm just going to call it and say this orange is what the color is going to be. Yeah, especially with the brown wash on it, I think, and it contrasts pretty well with all the other colors. So the next question will be, and we're running a little bit out of time here, I'm just going to mix this orange up a little bit. A little tacky, but again, this is a test. Drop this orange in. We're going to drop. What I want to see is if it covers the purple. Hopefully I'm trying to see what it looks like against the white paint that I put in. It's kind of the primer color. These paints are dry, so it's not a perfect test, but it seems to be working okay. Getting it on places that I'm going to have to do a lot of purple touch-up. There'll be some back and forth here, definitely. To make sure that the demarcation line is as it should be. And this orange kind of needs 2 coats, so put 2 coats on and then do the purple touch-up. and then do the orange touch-up after the purple touch-up. See what this looks like on one of these spots. One of these places where the shirt was ripped. Yeah, so the boundary line is pretty arbitrary. Be a little back and forth between the purple and the orange before they are satisfied with their locations. But what I can say is that with the white paint on it, the purple doesn't show through, and so that part is a success. Yeah, painting this is going to take a million years, because I need to paint the boundary of the purple, and where the orange is going to go with that white to make sure that it covers, and then that has to dry, and then the orange has to go on, and then I need to bring the purple back and fudge around with the boundary lines a little bit, either and yan, until they are acceptable. But experimentation is going okay. So this is still a little tacky. My next step will be, I'm probably going to just finish this arm. I'm probably just going to go ahead and base coat this whole thing with this orange again, because even though the wash came out really well, I have no idea if I can duplicate it on the other side. I think what I can do, there's still some time left. I'm just going to paint around the perimeter here. Paint over the white with the orange. And see how that goes. Going to have to be done anyway. And if I can get this done with some acceptable level of accuracy, then I can just use the bigger brush to paint in the rest of it. Definitely need more purple coming back the other direction. Got up and just painting over the lines here. But I think it's coming along. We got the base coat on the shirt done. I just need to do the wash on that after, but I'm not going to do that until after this whole process of painting the white and the purple overflow, and then the orange, and then the purple touch up, and then the wash on the orange. That whole many multi-step processes, and eventually it'll get done. Orange on here. Yeah, and then the purple until we get the arbitrary boundary in a satisfactory fashion. If this dries, it'll be interesting to see. Difference in color between the orange base coat and bit of, since I got some paint, I'll run it down onto the other color. Definitely get thick here. Yeah, that'll be okay. You probably need to put 2 coats on before the base coat color is the way I want it. But, you know, the experimental arm is the experimental arm, and the experiments have paid off, both in terms of the color that we're going to be painting, the hairy skin of this guy, and in terms of the wash that'll be going on the purple. We discovered that the blue wash, and it's kind of just blobbed on, is the way to go with that. Discovered that the white paint is adequate in covering up the purple. Comes to putting the orange on. This makes it, you know, more work, but be okay. And then, you know, we'll just touch up all this stuff with the purple paint on Friday. Yeah, so I think that this might be okay at this point to got about 10 minutes left. I'm going to squeeze out a bunch more orange paint and base coat the entire arm. And put orange right on down to the fingers. How am I going to hold this while I'm doing that? I guess I'm going to have to hold it on the purple and then fix the purple when it comes time to be doing a touch-up. Just finding that I'm not satisfied with the arbitrary delineation between orange and the purple in a few spots. But we'll touch that up on Friday too. Okay. Let me stir up the orange paint here. And I can hold it like this. Where am I going to set it? Yeah, the purple paint just keeps flaking off. But that's okay at this point. Where am I going to set it so that it dries? There. Okay. We'll hope that holds. Yeah, this whole thing's all closed. I'm just going to put it here. And I am painting the arm orange. Including the parts that were painted and washed earlier, as we have decided on the color. And this is going to need a second coat. And that will go on Friday. We'll be doing a lot of coating and recoating and base coating and washing and all sorts of things in some sort of arbitrary but efficient manner on Friday. Painting over the alternate color here, and you can see that that's going to definitely need a second coat. Make sure that the color is uniform. See that the incisions that are meant to be its arm hair are pretty deep, and if this paint levels itself decently, they will be filled in with wash when the washing time comes. Put fingers between the fingers. I'm painting the fingernails this color because, again, it's going to be a battle between one side and the other to decide where the exact line of demarcation will be. Yeah. So what will be happening here is there'll be a second coat of orange on here, just a thin coat to make sure it's covered. And I'll get the purple out and fix these lines of demarcation between the skin and the purple. Touch up the purple spots, okay? I'll be doing that on this arm and that arm and the face and the belly and the back. But first, I will need to be getting out the white paint. And I'll show you on the other model. I'll just set this over here in the, hopefully it'll hang up and dry. So, on the other model, you can see, especially in the back here, where I put the purple paint intentionally over the edge, I need to paint all of that white because the orange paint doesn't cover the purple. So these spots here and here and here, and the tears and the edges along the boundaries are going to have to be painted white, and then I'll have to dry. And once that's dry, then I'll put the orange on, and then after that's dry, I'll put the second coat of orange on, and then I'll go back with the purple and touch up the purple. And then we'll decide whether to wash the purple first or the orange first. I'm probably going to do the orange first, because if some of the wash gets up onto the purple, I'll need to do more purple touch-up again. The blue wash on the purple is just kind of splattered around, and if there's some spots like down at the bottom where it doesn't get on or it's uneven, that'll be okay. Yeah. So there'll be some challenging places, like around the beard here, ears and the eyeball. And then I'll paint the teeth later. So, yeah, there's a good deal of that. And then we have to paint the hammer. And then after or during all of that, we've got the crushed car. And the crushed car will take its own sweet time, because there's a lot of different colors on here. Red, black, chrome, windshield color, whatever that will be. The hubcaps might be a different color than the chrome. Anyway, there's that. Thank you for joining us on Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons Fink Eliminator version. I'll be working on this guy probably again on Friday, and off and on when there aren't any dungeon tiles to paint. And yeah, it's coming along okay. Right? I was just sort of thinking about what was happening next. Yeah, white paint, orange second coat, purple touch-up, orange washing, purple wash, and then pants. We'll do those pants. Looks like that the belt of the pants touches the orange. So, like around here. So just like with the purple touching up, I probably will probably need to paint the belt all the way around. Yeah, anyway. White paint over the purple, orange paint over the white, second coat of orange paint, touch up the purple, no, wash the orange, then touch up the purple, because the wash might get on the purple. No sense doing that 2 times instead of 1. Wash the purple and figure out what to do with the pants. Definitely blue denim, probably a black belt. I don't see anything fancy going on there. Probably like a dark gray wash on the pants, just to give it some life instead of just a flat color. Get the face painted, do the teeth, then come back and finish up the hammer. Figure out where I'm going to be holding this while I'm doing the pants. I don't know, maybe up here, maybe like that. Yeah. Easiest guy to grab onto, but it's coming along. So thank you for joining in. This has been Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons. Dice and Dungeons is a group of us. Started out doing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, which still streams. I think we're well into the 70s in terms of episodes. You can catch that with live chat on Sundays from starting at 2 Eastern time. If you miss it, you can catch it on YouTube or as a podcast. And this Relaxing Painting takes place on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 until 2, with some variation in the dates and the times that usually are posted on social media ahead of time. But I plan to be back on Friday, and unless there's more dungeon tiles to do, I will continue to work on Fink Eliminator. And we'll just keep going at it until we have done it. maybe in another couple of weeks at the pace this is moving. And then after that, dungeon tiles, or maybe a submarine. Maybe a cutaway submarine, which is a pretty cool model. That'll be a little bit of a challenge, actually, but we'll see. And there's other little details that are yet to be revealed, like the cherry bomb fuse and the car that need to be painted. But right now, looks like we've actually made a little bit of progress here. But I do want to put a second coat on this so that the orange is fairly uniform color. It's not right now. This was white. This was paint over wash. And I want those to be pretty uniform in color before I wash them. Thanks again. We'll catch you on Friday right about 10 in the morning Eastern time. Please feel free to watch us then or catch us on YouTube. And if you really like what you see, please become a subscriber. And if you really, really like what you see and hear, go to patreon.com/diceanddungeons, and we welcome your support. Thanks again. See you Friday.